The Galactic Star Cruiser, the Star Wars themed hotel in the Walt Disney World Resort in Orlando, Florida, is closing, coming later this year in September 2023.
Oh no! What happened? Oh no, how terrible! Oh no!
Well, if you've been following us here on Valiant Renegade as we've covered this story since the hotel opened roughly a year and a half ago, you've probably seen this coming, but there's some details I think that we need to cover because this is falling right in line with some of the predictions that we made here based on simple business experience. Let's talk about those right now.
Renegade Online.
Well, folks, welcome back. Another great day here at Valiant Renegade. It's good to see everybody out there once again. And if you are like one of the many folks watching this video, not yet subscribed to this channel at Valiant Renegade, please take a moment and turn that little red subscribe button below the video to gray. Hit that like button, hit that notification bell, share this sucker out on the social medias, and of course, please do leave a comment before you head out the door today. So here we have the article that went around all over the internet just a little while ago, about 45 minutes before the closing market bell on the New York Stock Exchange. This from CNBC, which is NBC's financial and business reporting page. Disney World's costly Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser to close in late September. Now, on the statement from the company, here we have it. Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser is one of our most creative projects ever and has been praised by our guests and recognized for setting a new bar for innovation and immersive entertainment, the company said in a statement. This premium boutique experience gave us the opportunity to try new things on a smaller scale of 100 rooms. And as we prepare for its final voyage, we will take what we've learned to create future experiences that can reach more of our guests and fans. And of course, that statement is just a bunch of bunk. I mean, if Disney is trying to actually suggest to people that this was some grand experiment for them to see just how immersive experiences would work with fans, and now it's run its course, yeah, good luck with that. Nobody is buying it. Now, this article from the San Francisco Gate is even a little bit more dire. Disney World's failed Star Wars hotel, the Galactic Star Cruiser, to close for good. Now, according to the Gate, one of Disney's most high-profile failures in recent memory is now confirmed. After barely a year in existence, the Star Wars-themed Galactic Star Cruiser is closing permanently. But from the start, it was not a sellout. Reviews often noted that the hotel didn't seem full, and earlier this year, Disney began rolling out its first major discounts, a clear sign that demand was waning. The cancellation of the ambitious project altogether, however, came as something of a surprise. In March, a Disney spokesperson confirmed to SFGate that bookings were being cut back in response to low demand, but the booking calendar did have availability through the end of 2023. Another spokesperson for Disney confirmed to SFGate that the cruiser will close in September and that Disney will work with the Galactic Star Cruiser cast members assigned to find new opportunities when the hotel shutters. Now, let's separate fact from theory at this point because we need to be abundantly clear. As of right now, the only thing that apparently is confirmed by the Walt Disney Company is that the hotel itself will be closing in September. Now, while one could imply that perhaps the hotel is permanently closing, Disney did not really say that in the press release, and I think there's reasons for that. Let's go back and talk about some of the things that we've covered here quite thoroughly over the past year since this hotel opened. Initially, there was a very high amount of traffic in this hotel that then quickly fell off. A lot of those early adopters, those reviewers, the pixie dusters, the Disney vloggers and bloggers, they all showed up, but the general public never really did. Frankly, the price tag was too high and the experience quality was too poor. And what's something you've heard me say countless times, especially when talking about this hotel in the past year? It's a price to value relationship, and Disney completely missed the mark in price to value on the Star Wars hotel, the Galactic Star Cruiser. Like many of us have been saying now since this thing opened, nothing about this hotel really felt or appeared like Star Wars, even right down to the experience, the immersive experience inside the hotel. You got Rey and Kylo, quite frankly, two of the most short-lived and unloved characters that Star Wars has ever done. Of course, it was a big deal for Disney because those were Disney characters. But just like their merchandise on the shelves in Galaxy's Edge, those characters are largely gone from the public specter. And what's important to note about that is that this heralds yet another massive failure for Kathleen Kennedy's brand and Disney's brand of Star Wars, something that was not terribly beloved at all. I don't care what anybody says about the box office receipts. They went down and down and down. There's a lot of instant adoption because the name Star Wars is on it, but once people realized what they were getting, they largely fled. And what happened with the hotel was quite simple, as does typically happen in that line of business. Once hotels like that fall under a certain capacity and remain there, they go to Plan B. And Plan B, as we told you about a year ago, is going to be to reduce prices, offer discounts, things of that nature. And that's exactly what we got earlier this year. That was big sign number one. Then when those hotels reach a point of the discounts not even working up to par, they have to move to Plan C. And that is radical overhauls of the hotel. And that's exactly what I believe is going to start going on in September. The simple fact of the matter is the sequel trilogy is nowhere near enough of a draw, especially one to justify a $5,000 price tag, or even a $3,000 price tag if you got some serious discounts, not for a 48-hour stay, or actually technically less than 48 hours. The food and the immersive experience are just not good enough. The Jedi lightsaber training looks like it's something that could have been done in a Chuck E. Cheese. This is not something that you spend thousands of dollars for to take the whole family to for a day and a half. Now, there's no word on how long that this is going to be closed, but I don't think at this point it's going to be permanent. Remember, the Walt Disney Company has hundreds of millions of dollars tied up in the construction of this property. They're just not going to let it sit there and rot. They are going to do something with it. They have all of the infrastructure in that facility that they need to do something really spectacular with. And they could reinvest a few million more dollars to reskin this thing right now and turn it into something more amenable for, say, Mando and Grogu, something that's certainly been far more popular for Disney than Rey and Kylo, although as we've seen, that popularity certainly has been dwindling in the last 12 months, and Season 3 of The Mandalorian really didn't do many favors for Disney Plus or for Mando and Grogu in terms of additional merchandise sales. Now, the other thing, of course, they could do, the wise decision, would be to turn that hotel into a real Star Wars experience. Put Luke, Han, and Leia in there. Turn that entire hotel into a real Star Wars experience. And maybe you don't have to make the prices so high, or maybe you can open up again charging $4,000 and $5,000 for an experience like that, if, of course, it's legitimate Star Wars. That is to say, the Star Wars that George Lucas made and not that Disney dumped on. The Walt Disney Company's problem is always the same these days. They are too stubborn and pig-headed to get out of their own damn way to let the audiences get what they want, to give audiences and fans the opportunity to open their wallets and give them money for things that they're willing to trade that money for, like a better experience, or in this case, real Star Wars. Maybe, I hope, that's where Disney is going. But of course, I'm not going to hold my breath too long on that one. I think if a reskin is coming, it's going to be somewhere more along the lines of a Mandoverse reskin. Or hopefully what they'll do is something that I talked about a year ago, and that is to make a multi-experience facility to where you'll have 2 or 3 different voyages. One that you could take a voyage on with the Mandoverse. One you could take a voyage on with classic, original, real Star Wars, and then maybe even another one with the prequel trilogy era. They could set all of that up if they really wanted to. Make the experiences a little bit less expensive, and then that way people have a chance to come back over and over again to do the different immersive experiences. Or, as our good buddy Drunk 3PO once, I think, wisely pointed out, why not just do a shortened dinner theater in there? You can leave the rooms open for people who want to stay, that want to have the bigger experience, but sell dinner packages that last maybe 3 to 4 hours. So you can go in there and have a more simplified experience at a lower cost. It would drive more traffic to the hotel, because the biggest thing that hotel right now is suffering from is big-time operating losses. They have to keep virtually a full staff in that place, with the exception of maybe the housekeeping staff, to keep that thing running correctly. It is a cast. They are playing roles. They are playing characters. It is part of a giant piece of theater. You can't cut out half the cast. And the problem is, it doesn't matter whether they have 20 guests staying or all 100 rooms are filled. They have to keep that cast and those shows and all the expenses incurred with them operating at full capacity. And that is where Disney is losing their shirts right now in that place. And by the way, I know some articles out there want to lay this at the feet of Bob Chapek like this was his brainchild. Oh no. We all know where this came from. Just like most of all the other Disney problems out there, these were all brainchilds and set in motion by Bob Iger. And of course, he's now back to oversee the completion of his failure. We'll see how this one goes. Stay tuned, and we'll talk more about this on the Sunday show. And stay tuned because my buddy WDW Pro from thatparkplace.com has got his own video coming out on this topic with his thoughts on it and maybe some things that you didn't think about as well. Stay tuned for that. And until then, take care.